In 2011, this amazing discovery was unearthed. A diary my grandmother had written some 42 years before was returned to her. And she was giving me the responsibility to decide what to do with it.
When the pages that make up this journal were returned to me after so many years, I did not want to read them. I was afraid. There are memories that hurt so much you do not want to remember. But at the same time, I was glad to be able to tell our children and grandchildren what we went through. When I was held in solitary confinement, I was held in the death cell in Pretoria. First thing you do when you get into the cell is to with that at least you have a pin or something on you, so you can scratch the calendar on the wall. And that is how I kept sane, because you lose track of the time and the date. It had 3 doors. You had your door, and then the grill door, and then the door. And the sound of those keys, you would hear the first door opening, the sound of the clanging of those keys. You know, was part of the torture system. And each time, when you have just come to prison, each time they did that, it opened the cell. It hit you right into your heart.
My grandfather wrote to my mother and my aunt to reassure them that everything will be okay, even under the circumstances of both of them being virtually orphans. My darlings, once again our beloved mommy has been arrested, and now she and daddy are away in jail. My heart bleeds as I think of her sitting in some police cell, 24 hours of the day, longing for her little ones. We have a brave and determined mommy who loves her people with all her heart. She gave up pleasure and comfort in return for a life full of hardship and misery.
I remember at some stage when my sister and I were asleep, we were actually removed from the bed and they searched under the mattress. I remember things like that, and they would actually take my mother and go off with her without a care as to who we'd be left with.
They would bring this porridge on top of your toilet bucket. They turn the bucket upside down, they put your food there, and the wardress stands at the door and kicks in the bucket. Couldn't even serve you with their hands, because that would lower their dignity. That is the extent to which they dehumanized you. I reached a point, I think a threshold, where the body could not take the pain anymore, and then I would faint. And when they threw a bucket of water to wake me up, it didn't matter that I was soaking wet. I got up, I was so refreshed, and I started fighting all over again. They can rather take my life, I don't care. But I will fight to the last drop of my blood.
As I poured through my grandmother's scribbled diary notes, I could not stop wondering how she managed to write them under the eyes of the guards, much less how she managed to smuggle them out of prison. But I am glad she did, and we have published this book to share this hidden history so that others can draw courage from her resilience and defiance under extreme pressure. It's a private story with a universal message of love and victory.
Titi uzanyiwe, meaning trial. I cannot believe my mother and my father named me that. Trial. Why? At the time a baby is born, what trial were they thinking of? And then I spent all my life in the course of this country on trial.